Good morning, everyone. So, I want to thank you for taking the time to be with us today. I know there are a lot of things you could be doing on a Sunday morning, especially on a Sunday morning, holiday weekend. So, I thank you for being here. If this is your first time being with us at CSL Visalia in the sanctuary, welcome, 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 welcome. That song you all just sang is our proclamation, our prayer to the world to say, this door is open. And I hope you felt the energy, felt the love when you walked through that door. If this is the first time you are joining us online, I want to welcome you there too, because there are many portals to understanding this faith, this philosophy, this way of living, and I want you to get it where it works for you. So there's a lot happening this summer at CSL Visalia, and I am going to turn it over now so you can hear the announcements of what's happening at CSL Visalia.
I get to do the announcements today. Okay, so what do we have? We have, first of all, we're going to talk about the birthdays, July birthdays. And does anybody have a July birthday besides me? Carol has oh, Steve. What day, Steve? 29th. Oh, 29th. He's a Leo. Were you? No? Okay, so we have 3 birthdays, and here we go. Donna.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, everybody. Happy birthday to you.
Another year around the sun. We'll have cake over there, and we also have Rita and myself. We brought watermelon and honeydew for the baby contest, so it's very refreshing and it's perfect for today. Oh, and a vegetable dip. I keep forgetting that vegetable dip, but thank you very much, Rita. Okay, the next fun thing we're going to do is karaoke party. Saturday, July 19th, 6 to 9. And it's really good because I like what they said. They like the karaoke environment outside of a bar. And I think that that's refreshing. So let's come and July 19th and support Donna. Thank you, Donna. Peanut butter. Yeah, this is all about the baby contest. We got Rita's granddaughter. We got my Snickers. We've got her peanut butter, so that's what we're having fun doing right now. All right. Anything else about the karaoke, Donna, you want to throw in?
I just want to say, wow, I'm on. Anyway, it was so much fun the last time, but what I liked better than anything was a whole bunch of people getting together and enjoying each other,
Yes.
Just having some love. And that was more important to me than money or food or anything else, was just the pure enjoyment of being together. So I think everybody would enjoy it.
Sing. Get it out. Okay, let's go to another one. So I'm going to do a family craft night this coming Wednesday, July 9th. And I'm going to call or remind Maria. We saw her at the, what was the drumming that we did, Donna? The Juneteenth, thank you. Yeah, I saw Maria. So anyway, I'll contact her, and she's an expert card maker. And we have all these crafting supplies that Ann Hagerman, if I said Hagerman, it was fabulous. I mean, we've got lots of craft supplies. So let's use them. Let's use, first of all, a thank you card for Anne would be totally appropriate, and we can craft those things. If we could get her up here, I'd have her right here, or maybe it's on Zoom. We'll see. We'll contact Ann. But the main thing is we're very grateful for her supplies. You know what? There she is. That's the girl. Yes. Wednesday, we're going to do the craft. Yes, she just walked in. That's synchronicity. I just love that. Thank you so much. Okay. So craft night, please come and see us. And she's an expert, and you can ask her all kinds of questions, just questions. All right. So really excited about that, you guys. Craft night, Wednesday. So our dear Reverend Jack is going to do a summer school. Now, it sounds like summer school sometimes is for little kids, but, we can have fun too, right? And that's what he's going to do. It sounds really fun. Sunday bingo, skits, lessons from the Inside Out, which I've watched Inside Out 1 and 2 now with my grandkids, and it's fabulous, okay? If anybody wants to see about emotions, it's Inside Out. It lays it out. So super fun, and is there any questions real quick?
This is from the book Inside Out, though, by Andrea Earl.
Oh, thank you for, well, I saw the movie, okay? The little kids movie, and it's just as good, and so, but this is about the book. Thank you for helping me with that. Okay, anything else? No? All right, so let's have a fun day today. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Emma, can you hear me?
Wow, good morning. So, we would like to read our mission statement. If you will all read with me, if we can have it up. Or not. There we are. Okay. The Center for Spiritual Living Visalia is the place everyone comes together, connecting in love, and learning how to create abundant, joyful, and peaceful lives. Now, our first song, I'd like to teach the world to sing. Donna and Kev, thanks.
I'd like to build the world a home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honeybees and snow white turtle doves. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to hold it in my arms and keep it company. I'd like to see the world for once all standing hand in hand, and echo through the hills for peace throughout the land. That's a song I hear. Let the world sing today. A song of peace that echoes on and never goes away. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to hold it in my arms and keep it company. I'd like to see the world for once all standing hand in hand, and hear them echo through the hills for peace throughout the land.
Thank you, thank you. All right, now we'd like to read our mission statement. Each month we look at one of them, and there are 14 total. So if we could all read together what we believe. We believe in the unity of all life, and that the highest God and the innermost God are one God. And now our diversity quote. Bobby?
Good morning. Okay, so this week The title of our talk is going to be Remembering the River Dolphins, which sounds a little mysterious. One of the themes for this week is unlocking the power within you and developing resilience. And we had a very interesting discussion in our Science of Mind chat. And the quote that I found that I think applies to it in some way is by Maya Angelou, the renowned author and poet and mentor. You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. In fact, it may be necessary to encounter, In fact, it may be necessary to encounter the defeats so you can know who you are, what you can rise from, and know how you can still come out of it. Maya Angelou. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby. That was a powerful quote. Yeah. All right. Now, if everyone would like to stand, we'll sing the congregational song, I'm Steppin' Out.
I'm stepping out into a world of possibilities. I'm stepping out into a whole new way to live. There's so much waiting for me. The path is clear before me. I've got so much that I have yet to give. I'm stepping out and I'm committing to integrity. I'm stepping out, releasing every fear and doubt. The road just keeps on turning, and every turn I'm learning what this life is all about. I'm stepping out. I'm stepping out into a world of possibilities. I'm stepping out into a whole new way to live. There's so much waiting for me. The path is clear before me. I've got so much that I have yet to give. I'm stepping out and I'm committing to integrity. I'm stepping out, releasing every fear and doubt. The road just keeps on turning, and every turn I'm learning what this life is all about. I'm stepping out. I'm stepping out. I'm stepping out.
All right, thank you so much. It's so joyful for me to hear you all singing along and participating in the service, because it's your participation that propels you to really manifest the things that you want to manifest in life. And so as we begin today, I want to invite you to just take a moment. If you are seated in the chair in the sanctuary, I'm going to invite you to just get quiet and take your hands and rest them in your lap. If you're at home, I'm going to invite you to get into a quiet place, and we're going to do a little guided visualization to start today. So as we come to this place, if you're willing, close your eyes and take a nice deep breath and let it go. And as you take this deep breath, I want you to remember that you are grounded in the earth below your feet, and that you are supported by love, that you are supported by the energy that surrounds you right now. That feeling that you had when the words of the song were sung, that energy, that good energy is love surrounding you. And so as we come to this quiet place today, I'm going to ask the question as if it were you speaking. And I want to invite you to ask Spirit, what is mine to see today? What is mine to be today? What is mine to do today? Now your mind, your ego may be wrestling with you right now. You may be focused on, oh, the audio is not how I wished it would be. Oh, there are other sounds on the street out in front. Let all those distractions go and ask yourself the question, what is mine to see today? What is mine to be today? What is mine to do today? And then just notice. Notice what is revealed to you. Don't judge it. Don't edit it. Don't try to modify it. Just accept it and bless it. What is mine to see today? What is mine to be today? What is mine to do today? And as you're with that, know that even though you may not have gotten an answer right at this moment, you did. You just haven't heard it yet. And so I'm going to invite you to be open, to be willing to notice what is revealed to you as you move through this day. So when you're ready, I'm going to invite you to come back into the room and be aware of everything that surrounds you. Look about the room and smile at someone. Let them know that we're in this together. We're going to do this thing. And be thankful for that. So as we come together today, there's a couple of things on my mind, on my heart, that I want to share with you. And it's certainly our study guide lesson that's available to you on the website will guide you into what the focus is, how we are one with nature, and how we can look at the dolphins to give us some insights as to how we might move through life. But one of the things that's really important for the week one lesson was to looking at the river that we are traveling down. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is there's going to be times in life when we go with the flow. There are going to be other times in life when we are going to test the boundaries of the shore. We're going to test our footing of where we are in this river of life. And then there are going to other times when we are going to, the passage looks so small, we're just going to bore through and get through it to the other side. And then other times, we're going to encounter the waterfall and we're just going to go over the edge. All of that is a metaphor for life. And one of the great discussions that we had in our Let's Talk Science of Mind class this morning that I loved is, this whole idea of being in your lane, staying in your lane. And many of us have cars that will give us that little sensor that if we drift a little bit too far to the left or a little bit too far to the right, a little sensor goes off and it gives us an alarm and we know to get back on track. Well, what we've kind of forgotten in that time by depending upon that little sensor, but pretending to notice those outside resources, we forget that we could have done that on our own all along. We kind of shifted our consciousness to where we weren't paying attention to what lane we were in. And so the car had to step in and remind us of that. Well, that's the good news. But the good news is that we also have that skill within ourselves to know that when we are on the path we are to be on. What I'm reminded is that sometimes it looks like we have changed lanes and we're disoriented and we want to know where the heck are we? And what might look like we're in the wrong lane, if we just go with it for a while, we realize we're seeing vistas that we never dreamed that we would see. We're seeing things that remind us we are exactly where we are supposed to be. As we were preparing for a class this morning, I was reminded for a story where in my life, I could have truly been on the wrong lane. But I had a teacher in the 3rd grade, and her name was Miss Hart. Well, Miss Hart was the antithesis of Hart. She could have been a military drill sergeant. And so she ran a very regimented class. She would be the teacher, if you can imagine in the movie, that walked around with the 18-inch ruler, slapping it on her hands, keeping order in class. And most of us in the class were very obedient. We were aware of doing what we had to do. And right at the end of the day, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we would have desk inspection. And she would walk by and look at everybody's desk, and your books better be appropriately stacked, with just the right workbook and the other arithmetic book on the left and the reader and the other book on the right, bigger book on the bottom, smaller book on the top. Everything had to be just so. Your pencils had to be just so. And if you passed desk inspection, then she would walk on to the next student. On one particular day, she did the desk inspection. Everybody passed, and she walked up to the front of the room and she said, "Oh, I have your spelling test to take home today." And so she passed out our spelling tests, and the little girl that sat to my left, her name was Cynthia. Cynthia lifted her desk and put her spelling test inside the desk and closed the lid to the desk. And from the front of the room, the teacher screamed, "What did you just do?" And she walked over to Cynthia's desk and she bent down by the bottom of the feet of the desk and she lifted it up for the bottom and dumped everything in Cynthia's desk onto the floor. And I breathed. I went like that. And she looked at me and said, "Do you have something to say?" Some voice came through me and said, "That was the stupidest thing that I have ever seen in my life. You tricked her." And the teacher glared at me and the bell rang and we all ran. Well, it was one of those situations where all the way home, walking home, it was like, what did you do? What did you do? I was glad that I spoke up for Cynthia. And as I got myself home, I realized that I kind of felt good about what I had done. I spoke up because that was injustice. And I knew that what I said is what everyone in that room believed. In fact, I was so content with what I said that by the time I got home, I had almost forgotten about it. Well, that happened to be like a Wednesday of the week. On that Friday, we received our report cards. And in citizenship, I had a C minus in citizenship. And I had to show it to my mom. So when I got home that day at 3 o'clock, I put my report card down on the table with it open. There would be no asking for it, no sharing it. Just look, she saw it and she said, "What is this C minus about?" And I said, "The teacher's mad at me." And she goes, "What do you mean she's mad at me?" And so I told her the story about Cynthia. And my mom looked at the clock and realized that it was about 3:15. And so she picked up the report card and said, "Stay right here. I'll be back." And she left and she went to the school and she had a conversation with Miss Hart. When she came back, that C minus had been changed to a B plus. Now, I would have loved to have known the conversation that happened in that schoolroom. But what I know is I stuck to what I authentically knew to be true. I would have never voluntarily gone into that situation, but I had something in me. Spirit just moved me. Spirit guided me to say, speak up and speak up now. And I think sometimes in life, we have to realize that some action that is unfolding in front of us, Spirit is taking us by the collar and saying, move now. Do it now. And we just do it. We just do it no matter the consequence. Because in our heart, in our intuitive nature, in our knowingness, we know that it's the right thing to do. Why am I saying all this? One of the reasons why I'm saying this is that we are living in interesting times. And there are going to be times when we are going to be called to speak up for someone else, to be the voice of reason in the crowd, to have the other opinion. Now, what I realized with that situation with Cynthia and the teacher and my mother is that I had an ally in my mom that I did not know that I had up until that point. It had never been tested. There had never been a situation where I had to count on her to stand up for me and be my ally. Now, I could have said, oh, I should have known all along. That's what a mother does. But nevertheless, it was demonstrated to me on that day. And that gave me the courage of other times in my life when I had to stand up and speak up because I trusted the universe that there would be an ally on the other side of this that would be there to have my back. Something would unfold that would serve me if I took the risk to tell the truth and to be an advocate for someone else. It's what we're called to do. So when we operate in this time that we're living in, what we want to be very clear on right now is that we are asking in that prayer each and every morning, Spirit, what is mine to see today? I need to see Miss Hart extending her power in an inappropriate way with Cynthia. What am I called to be today? I am called to be my most authentic self. And when I see bull, you know the rest of the word, when I see it. Call a thing a thing. What am I to do today? Speak up for someone who does not have the ability to speak up for themselves. Cynthia was in shock. She didn't know what to do. So it was like, I am going to say that. I'm going to be the one to speak up for someone else when they can't speak up for themselves. You know, there were so many times in my life where I had to call upon that first story of me speaking my authentic truth, where I had to be the only voice in the room to say, not on my watch. No, that makes no sense to me. We're not going to do that. And to be willing to go to the wall for it. It's not easy, but that's why we have our spiritual journey. That's why we have our spiritual portfolio to call upon, you know, to really look at what can I do to have my balance in my life so that I can be that person that I'm called to be, that ally, that advocate, that co-conspirator, if that's what's being required, that I can show up fully in that and do that. That's what we're called to do. You know, I know that I've often said this before, but there was a teacher that I followed once who offered this lesson of we have to understand that if we all don't make it, none of us are going to make it. That's the oneness with the universe. That's the oneness in that purpose statement that we talked about. We are one with the universe. We are on this earth together. We are on this planet. When you are in the Hubble, looking through the Hubble camera back at Earth, there are no lines that divide us. You cannot see different races. You cannot see anything that we down here are using to separate ourselves from one another. And so we have this opportunity to really take another look to say, we're all in this together. How do we get there? What do we need to do? Does it require that I speak up for somebody else? Does it require that I speak up for what I believe in so that the other voice doesn't become the predominant voice? And that we just go, oh, well, we did what we could do. You know, I got to watch, I'm loving the History Channel. I don't know how I ever missed the History Channel in my adult life. But recently I kind of found it, and I love the storytelling in it and the history that's being revealed. And I watched an episode this past week about Benjamin Franklin and all that he did in his life to be a part of our country's independence. And what I never knew and what I never understood from school or what I was never taught was that his own son, William, was loyal to England. And it ripped their family apart. It ripped their family apart at such levels that it confounded Benjamin Franklin that his son could have such a different opinion of life and how it should be and how it should be. And his son William had such a confused understanding of how his father could have the opinion and the point of view that he could have, and that there would be years, decades that they did not speak to one another. But when you read their letters to one another, even in their anger at one another, there was still a paragraph or a line that said, "But because you're my father, I will love you forever. Because you are my son, I will love you forever." And so, even in this place of tremendous discord, tremendous misunderstanding with one another, they each knew that there was something higher and better than themselves, that bigger than themselves, that was born out of love. And I thought, okay, what a profound lesson, because when you look at that period of time and what was happening in the country, so much of the verbiage, so much of the words, so much of what was being said was exactly what's being said today in our discourse with one another. And so, even today, it's not that we are speaking up and choosing sides. We are being good stewards of our faith, our philosophy, our way of living, to ask the question, what is for the highest and best? Spirit, show me, what am I to see today? Show me what I am to do today, be today, and go with that. We have to have the conversations. Maybe not right now. Maybe right now is not the time to have the conversation with your uncle, but maybe it is the time for your uncle to see that you are a praying, caring, loving human being that doesn't ever anticipate your first words to be, "And I told you so." It is to allow people the grace to get there on their own. And a part of how they get there on their own is to see that you have not judged them, chastised them, or made them wrong. You're the example of a better way. You're the example of how it can be done differently. You are setting up your life to be the example of peace, of joy, of harmony, of understanding, of empathy, all of those good qualities that you hold and dear and value. They're watching you. They're watching you. And when they have their emancipation, when they have their new understanding, when they see it finally from a different point of view, or if you suddenly see it from a different point of view, meet that moment with compassion. Meet that moment of compassion. We are in a society where it is so easy to ghost, to discard, or throw away relationships that are not aligned with our values. I'm not saying change your values. I'm saying be the demonstration of why your values make a difference. That's the path that you're on. There are going to be times when you are going down a river that you didn't even realize that you were going to be going down. But you have the skills, you have the intuition, You have the knowing how to traverse it if you merely ask. And they'll see you doing that. The reason why others are hanging on to their position is because they are afraid. Now, we don't know necessarily what it is that they're afraid of. We can make up stuff about what we think they are afraid of, but we don't know. And it's not ours to know what it is that they're afraid of. What it is for us to do is to be the demonstration that we are not afraid. We are not afraid or worried about our country, our next 4 years, or whatever that might be, because we know we are faithful people and we believe, as my dear friend Brandis would say, God's got it. God's got it. And how this is unfolding right now, it is not how I would want it to unfold right now, but maybe there's a gift in it. And so maybe my prayer is, Spirit, show me the gift in this chaos. Show me what it is that I am to see. What am I to be? What am I to do, even in times like this? How can I be the example? Because I either believe my values, I either believe my truth, or I don't. And so I need to be absolutely certain in what it is that I believe. And so we're called upon that. One of the things that I'm going to invite you to do this week, I want to invite you to visit elderprideforme.org. That's elderpride, the number 4, the word me.org. On the website, Elder Pride is a sister entity to CSL Visalia. And while you're there, what is up there this month is what is known as My Prayer for My Country. Dr. Ernest Holmes, several years ago in the 60s, wrote a prayer for our country. And it is still as relevant today, maybe even more so than what it was back in the 60s. And many of us know what the 60s were like. And so there is this opportunity to read that prayer, to print it out, to say it every day. You know, there's a myth, and I love debunking these myths. You know, there are some old school science of mind folks who say you only do a prayer treatment once, and to repeat it negates it. Well, that's a myth. You know, that is a myth, because no matter how you may recite a prayer, you never say it exactly the same. You never come to it with the same person today that you were yesterday. You're a brand new person. So repeat that prayer if need be. Do it as often. And so if you go and you find this, My Prayer for My Country, or even if you Google Dr. Ernest Holmes, My Prayer for My Country, you can do it that way too. But I'd love for you to visit the elderprideforme.org website. Print it out, check it out, and recite it every day as a part of your spiritual practice. It's what we can do together for what is for the highest and best for our country. We've said a lot today. We've talked about a lot of things. And here's what I want to leave you with today. If ever there was a time for you to be steadfast in your authenticity and your personal truth, it is now. There are no accidents in your life. You did nothing wrong. You made choices. Your choices had consequences, and you chose again. A setback was just a setup for your learning, for your deeper understanding. of how your life got to be the way that it is. Move forward with that. Focus on how you got over, how you chose never to do that thing again, whatever that thing was, but you bless that thing because you learned from it. I'm glad that I had Miss Hart as a teacher. I'm glad that I spoke up that day and said, not on my watch. No. And I was willing to deal with the consequences. And I know that you can be as well. You can be steadfast in your values, steadfast in your belief systems, steadfast in your faith as you understand it, just as you are steadfast in your willingness to know more, to see more, to be more, and to do more in life. So walk away today empowered. Walk away today with a smile on your face. Walk away today standing a little taller because you know who and whose you are. Thank you, everyone. See you on the other side.
I guess he forgot. We now have our special music. Donna and Kim.
I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my joy over the mountains. I send my joy over the sea. I send my joy into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my power over the mountains. I send my power over the sea. I send my power into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my peace over the mountains. I send my peace over the sea. I send my peace into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. And it returns to me. And it returns to me.
Will the ushers please come forward? All right. Will you all participate in reading the prosperity prayer? Today, I expect every good thing to come to me, for I know that divine abundance is forever manifesting itself in my affairs. I am keeping my whole mind and thought and expectation open to new experiences, to happier events, and to a more complete self-expression. Everything that belongs to spirit, I accept. Everything that partakes of the nature of divine reality, I claim as my own. I identify with success, and I prosper in everything I do. As I give thanks for the good now flowing into my life, I gladly share that good with others. The more I give, the more I receive. I experience a deeper consciousness of peace and security, for I know that I am in the embrace of a warm, loving presence. My cup runneth over. I exist in limitless prosperity. How to donate? Out there, if you would like to donate to the Center for Spiritual Living Visalia, you can go to www.cslvisalia.org and click on Donate, or mail a check to CSL Visalia, 117 South Locust, Visalia, 93291. And we thank you so much for that. We bless these gifts and give thanks for all the good that they will manifest. And so it is.
All right. Thank you, everyone. You know, as we come to the conclusion of our talk today, of our time together, I hope that you feel empowered. I hope that something spoke to you, whether it was a spoken word, whether it was the lyrics of the song, whether it was just seeing someone around you that it feels good to be seen. It feels good to be noticed. Someone saw me today. Someone heard me today. That's the gift of community. That's the gift of being a part of CSL Visalia. That is the gift of finding your tribe, they might say, of like-minded people who are willing to explore, to go deeper in our understanding of how the world got to be the way that it is. And as we circle up to come together as we end each service, we sing a song that is our affirmation. And it is also an acknowledgement. We know and believe that peace in the world is possible, that we can indeed create a world that works for all. But what I want you to know is there are some religious organizations just down the street, so to speak, that do not believe that peace is possible. In fact, they almost think it is a statement of hierarchy, of hypocrisy to even proclaim that it is possible. So I stand in that truth and say, you do not get to speak for me. I believe that peace on earth is possible, and I know that it begins with me. And it is indeed the song I sing. Thank you, everyone.